Why is the water bill so high? This toilet just been running. There you go. This toilet just running. Flapper ball. Welcome back, my YouTube family. In today's video, I will be going over the steps to repair first of all, a toilet that's running. Second of all, go through the process of identifying where a leak is at in the toilet. And then third, how to replace the toilet altogether. So the first one is the most important one that most people will run across, where their toilet is constantly running. There's either going to be one or two scenarios where your toilet is constantly running. The first scenario is when your fill valve is where the water comes into the toilet and fills the toilet, hence the name fill valve. So there on the fill valve, old technology had the ball on it. New technology has the float on it. Anyway, the float stops reading, or the fill valve stops reading where the float actually comes up in the water to stop the water from going. So that mechanism goes bad. Or your flapper ball is not seated correctly, and therefore the water just keeps going underneath the flapper ball. This product by Korky, I'm not sponsored in this video, but anyway, this is supposed to be like a one-trip type deal where you change out your fill valve, and then you not only change out the flapper ball, but you change out the whole mechanism that holds the flapper ball. So a lot of times you will go and get a flapper ball replacement, and it's not the right seat, or the fill valve is not working right, whatever the case is. This is a universal kit I'm going to review. So whenever I'm changing out fill valves or any type of toilet, I always change out the supply line as well. The toilet that we're changing out, the supply line is pretty new, but again, you might want to change out your supply line, especially if you have the old plastic ones. Make sure you get the right length. Just measure from the top down to where your valve is at, and that'll tell you how long your piece you need. So let's open this box to see what's all in the package here. So they have the bolts that connects the tank to the actual bottom of the toilet. So that's these bolts. They have the chain connected to the flapper ball that goes to the handle. And all of the parts that you need, you have your little hose that goes from here into there. And this is the actual fill valve. This is where the water hookup connects to. And then this piece right here, we have to take off the tank that's connected to the toilet and then put all of this together. And it's kind of got it in here in sequence the way it goes. And it actually looks like this is adjustable. Oh, it is. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's adjustable. So that's all what you get in the kit. Everything is complete. Tools you'll need is a pair of pliers. When you're connecting your hose or your supply line, you're typically going to need a 5/8 wrench for that, or you can use the pliers, of course, but it's easier to use a 5/8 wrench. And then you can also use a 16 mil. That works too, or 16. I don't know if it's mil, but just metric 16. And then for your bolts, for when you're connecting your bowl to your tank to the bowl, you're going to need 7/16 wrench for that. Again, you can use the pliers if you wanted to, or you can use an 11 metric. So that's it. Really, a screwdriver, so you can, and a long screwdriver too, so you don't have to stick your hand all the way in there. On the top of here, there's a little slit here. You can hold that, so when you tighten it down, you know, it doesn't move constantly. That's it. That's all the tools you need. It's recommended, highly recommended, for you to have some type of pail, some type of bowl, so when you unhook the supply line from the bottom of the tank, you can catch that water coming out the tank. So the handle is actually on a string or a chain typically, and when you push this handle up, it pulls the flapper ball up. It releases the water per gravity into the toilet flushes, the flapper ball goes back down, and then the fill valve starts filling up the toilet up into a designated spot, and then the fill valve's supposed to stop. and wait for the next flush. So definitely want to turn off the water. If you're leaking here and you're not familiar with plumbing, then it's best that you hire a plumber. But anyway, turn off the water, flush the toilet to get all of the water out. I'm going to hold this open to keep the flapper ball up so the water can completely drain out. To unscrew this valve here, and typically it's just a hand tightened thing. So you just hold it and then you can unscrew the valve on in there again. You get your bucket. So when the water starts coming out, your pan can catch it. It's a bolt on the right and it's a bolt on the left. The package came with 3 bolts, although I only need 2 bolts. But in order to take this tank off, you'll have to unscrew that screw and unscrew this screw. And taking a look under here, you can kind of like see why they give you new bolts, because that's all rusted out. And then you can see the connection there. The same thing here is on the other side. And I'm going to use a 7/16. Use my flathead. Remember, only thing I did was unhook the valve here, and I took those 2 bolts out. That's all that's holding this tank onto the bowl. Take it, lift it off, dump the water out. So right there is underneath. That's what we're going to replace. We're going to replace all of those components, and then we'll set the tank back on the bowl and rebolt it. So basically, we're going to be replacing this piece. We're going to be replacing this piece. You do want to take the chain off of the existing handle. And we're doing a 1-to-1 replacement, so just make sure that you're cognizant of how this came off. The instructions do have exact steps on taking this off, but I've been doing this so long I kind of like know the process. But anyway, if you get stuck, just refer to the instructions. But basically, you want to take this off pretty much, well, just like anything else, you want to put it on the way it came off. Yep. Let's take this piece off. Okay. Fill valve just comes out, and this whole entire piece comes out. This right here is a clipboard washer, and it goes actually underneath the tank. Let's install this one and put it in. Clipboard washer. Then this piece here. You want to make sure that this is straight. And you want to tighten that down. That's good enough. Next, we'll install the fill valve. This hose pretty much well goes this way. And this goes back on here. And when you're putting this tank back on, you just want to be gentle. That's it. Just be gentle, because you don't have the bolts yet. Right in there. Okay, so just like we took the 2 bolts off, we're going to put these 2 bolts back in. And it's going to be real hard for me to record it, but the gist of it is that just like I took it off, I'm going to take this, go through the holes. These washers and that big washer that you saw, that's what keep the water from leaking. So if your toilet is leaking from the tank, it's either going to leak again. Rubber goes bad, or that big rubber gasket that was in the middle there. So yeah, you just basically stick these through the hole. And then you're going to tighten that down. Don't forget the washer now. As you tightening this down, it's going to get tighter and tighter, but you do not want to over tighten, or you will you can possibly crack your toilet. So I'm just going to put this wrench on here, and I'm going to use my screwdriver to tighten up. Go to the other side and do the same thing, and you just keep alternating sides. We got the supply line hooked back up, and I am going to turn the water on. And I only want to turn it on a little bit just to make sure that we don't have any leaks underneath. Putting my hand underneath the bolt. Underneath the bolt here. Rubbing it around, dry. Check around the supply line. Just rub your hand around there. Dry. Rub around the actual supply line down that comes out, so that connects to the hole. That actually is a little wet. So where the hose is that I didn't replace is a little wet. So I want to tighten that up a little more, and if need be, I'll change out that hole. But right now we're not leaking, so that's great. These are typically tight when you're trying to put them on. And so I'm just always just taking a lighter. Kind of like, you're not burning it all the way up. Just lighten it up a little bit so you can take that and put it on. And it goes right over it because it's a little warm. And then it'll dry on there tight. This holds, this thing threads into here. Like so. So my field line is about right here. This stop way down there. And then of course the chain is not hooked up so the toilet won't flush. That's another thing. Only there's a couple of things that why your toilet won't flush. Either it's not getting any water. That's something wrong with your supply. Either the handle is broke, the chain is disconnected from the flapper ball, or the flapper ball is open and you're not getting enough water into the tank in order for gravity to flush the toilet. So let's hook up the chain. Okay, the way you adjust this is you gotta hold the base. Take this counterclockwise. Well, that's clockwise. This is counterclockwise. And then here, you can adjust this up or down. You want to tighten it back up, and then you can take this and line it back up, unloosen it a little bit, get it lined back up, check it for leaks. So now when we flush it, it should come up to the water line. You would adjust this overflow so it's about 1 inch above the water line. So let's do that. Maybe your hand can play a part in it too. So that way, right there, about 1/2 inch up. That's good. And tighten that back up. Let's flush it and see what it do now. All right, that's perfect. It does have a little valve on here that you can open and close to relegate the amount of water that's going in at any time. That's there. I didn't have to do it. I'm going to show you right now on the screen where the actual water level is. And so, yeah, that's pretty much well it, guys. And the cool thing is that we've also shown you how to put the tank on the bowl, which when you get the new toilet out the box, that's what you're going to have to do before you set the toilet. So all in all, the kit does what it's advertised. Is one trip to the store for the price. Might be different in your area, but the price for what I paid is right here on the screen. I think it's worth it. I mean, with the field valve, all of the components to keep the keep everything from leaking, the oversized washers, the oversized gasket, they made that so it could fit all type of toilets. But I was able to get this one tight, you know, so no harm, no foul. So my honest opinion of this particular kit, I give it a thumbs up. It's good to go.